Welcome to the best of the Chris Vernon Show, presented by Direct Auto Insurance from the American Home Shield Studio inside FedEx Forum. To watch the live show daily at noon or on demand, head over to grindcitymedia.com or Grind City Media on YouTube. Now, let's take a look back at some of the best moments of the week.
Sonny Vaccaro is a legendary shoe executive. He's the Godfather of Grassroots Basketball. He joined us last week, and we talked to him about The Last Dance and about how he had sat down with producers. And so we anxiously awaited the episode on Sunday, and we did see the back of Sonny's head. He was there in the Nike meeting for Michael Jordan. Did you get a lot of calls, Sonny, about the back of your head making a debut in the documentary?
You know, it's funny you said that. The second or third call I got last night, I mean, everyone was watching these things, and, it was funny as heck. I mean, it wasn't a call, it was a text. He said, Sonny, you could be picked out in a crowd, even with your rear end and your head only showing. And I didn't know what he was talking about, because obviously I hadn't seen. It was like he just saw, I guess, whatever. So, yeah, I've had a few calls on that, and well, it just shows you maybe that's the brighter side of me, right? The backside.
Hey, well, no, I thought to myself, I actually texted my buddies and I said they couldn't even find a picture that didn't include him in it some way, somehow, because obviously your name does not come up in the deal. So I want to talk to you about, like, the real story here. And we'll get into the Jordan stuff, okay? But, like, we'll do it like they do this Last Dance almost. We're going to start at the end, and then we're going to go back to the beginning, okay? Why is there such bad blood to the point where now everybody's, that was involved in that is old now, Sonny. But there's such bad blood that now the retelling of the stories, obviously, in many of these players and their documentaries and their stories, and especially the endorsement stuff, go out of their way not to include you. It feels to me.
Well, I think it would not be for the reasons that they included me or I had a lot to do with most of them, and I think I know you're talking about getting the names, but it's mostly a Nike situation. Obviously, the ones that are, the ones that are primarily absent in Soul Man, where Nike representatives and all that. And the irony of that, over my entire life, Kobe went with me to Adidas because I wasn't with Nike. If I would have been with Nike at that time and had the same power I had with Adidas, in all probability, he would have gone with Nike, for the obvious reasons of Jordan and paying him. So, Chris, the one thing that's coming out now, and we're going backwards, is I've survived my life. If I were dead, or if I would have been someone who quit after Jordan in the 80s, or when I got fired and I'd have been a school teacher or something, which would have been a great job and all that sort of stuff, Chris. But you know me. I've watched you and your family grow up together, and Memphis knows me pretty well for a lot of other reasons. In fact, I think Dana Kirk was part of my original Nike signees. I bet you didn't know that, Chris. When I signed just college coaches in the 80s and 70s. So I've had a long, wonderful relationship with basketball and with cities. And what happened is I remained Sonny Vaccaro, and they weren't able to shoot me. And I said something a long time ago that's been surfacing around the net, I guess. There's a quote from me, and I said they tried to kill me, but they forgot to bury me. And what happened was they tried to kill me from the first day they being Nike, was fired or I quit. I mean, when I said I quit, I cost myself a lot of money. But my point here is, Chris, I had no animus until the bad things started. All the bad things started after he fired me, and we had the lawsuits and all these things. And then I had the good fortune.
Why'd you get fired?
Pardon me?
Why'd you get fired?
Because I was bigger than the company. Basically, that's a thought. If you think about it through it, someone listening to you for the first time would think this guy's an. Well, Michael was my best friend. He was we were already successful, as you know, and a lot of your audience may not, is like, I've been in basketball my whole life. I was a personality, and then the colleges got, whatever, bigger than life, and it saved Nike's ass. And now we're at the point where I just come back from Europe, traveling the world doing a Godfather, tour with Michael all over Europe. I was there when he put the shovel in the ground at the Olympic Stadium in Spain, Pam and I, Paris. So I was bigger. And I don't want to go through all that with your thing. And what they did, and I was doing other things, Chris, and I think I mentioned on your program, at least through the years, I was independently promoting charity games, and my charity was Hoops and Help, and I did a lot of things with the homeless, and Billy Crystal and Robin Williams and Whoopi Goldberg, when the homeless was their meaningful, charity, especially in California. And I produced, a game in Louisiana Superdome between LSU and Notre Dame. Well, you may remember, you don't. Neither of them were Nike schools at that time. I don't think they ever became a Nike school. Oh, yeah, Notre Dame may have. No, they were. Anyway, and we had 64,000 people, and I gave all the money to charity. I was doing other things. I had a tour going with colleges, and a lot of them were Nike teams, but the main game wasn't. I was working with a company called Deke to help. They were a cartoon. They were the second biggest cartoon company in the world at that time, second to Hanna-Barbera. And I formed a relationship with those people, and we were doing games and videos with athletes. And Gretzky and Bo Jackson, and they tried to get Michael. I was the person there. I got very close to Spike Lee, first of all, because of John Thompson. Second of all, because he was the guy that did the most, famous Jordan thing. When we did the Jordan special that I produced when I was with Nike, and then I was fired, and we actually had the show, and it was a big Raider in November of 91 or 92. Where it was a salute to Michael Jordan. He had just retired or whatever. And I produced it. I mean, so you can now see in a quick, story, I was Michael's best friend. I was not, there's a man named Howard White. Howard's a basketball player for Lefty Gel at Maryland, a very good college player, a very good high school player. I knew him. He was working at Nike a couple of days before I was hired, I believe. I never knew. I only knew him through college. But when I made the fateful decision to take Michael, Rob Strausser, who people don't know, he's passed away now, was the genius in my life support with Nike. And he's the man that bought Adidas America, then passed away 1 year after he bought it, and why I went to Adidas. But to tell you, Howard was on that show the other day, and Howard's a good guy, and I knew his wife and his children and all that sort of stuff. You know what? Like most people, you're beholden to the man who sends your check, okay? And sometimes you get disappointed with people, but you understand people. But it's not a disappointment where there's hatred or angst or whatever. It's just a disappointment. Just tell the damn truth. When Howard was on the show, I guess the other night, because the whole world told me that. And basically, Howard was in a I don't want to go through it, but he was the guy that went with Michael around, most of the times when we were on trips. I was there every time. Michael didn't do a clinic or appearance. Macy's in New York, go in the green room for Saturday Night Live. I mean, the special, in the Chicago Theater in Chicago for, NBC, all these things. And you sort of watch things play out, and then you ask why. Well, I was his best friend, and it's documented. In fact, there's a couple articles that were written in the good old days where three people who now have aligned themselves to make sure the public thinks I was dead and buried, and this is a new person imitating Sonny Vaccaro. And in a world where they all praised me. I mean, I got praises from everybody that don't talk to me now.
All right. Hey, Sonny, let me stop you real quick. If I asked Nike why you got fired, what would they say? They would not say because Sonny got bigger than the company. Trust me, I know that. So what would they say?
I don't know what they'd say, but basically I got fired because I was off the rails. I mean, I never for a minute until it got very bad after the firing. I don't think he should have fired me. I think we just should have come to an amicable agreement, and I would have gone on, since I amicably agreed not to be fired and not to take any money, and they offered to pay a lot of money. I just think that's the fact. I mean, the last time I saw Michael associated with, we were in the Biltmore Hotel in Colorado, we were talking about opting out of the NBA jerseys with Magic Johnson or Mike, and they won that case too. I don't know if you remember, Chris, you're too young maybe, but I don't know what to tell you. But I can only tell you, until the minute I got fired, I thought I'd be buried in a Nike swoosh. I mean, I had the greatest job in the world and the most popular athlete that ever lived. I mean, it would be silly.
And so the bad blood becomes, because after that, you go to Reebok, you go to Adidas, and these summer wars for amateur players become so, like, competitive, so intense and so competitive that it just ends up breeding this animus towards each other, right? You're out to beat Nike, and you're the guy that's out there by himself, and you are going to prove that they screwed up, and so you're going to go sign Kobe Bryant and Tracy McGrady and all these guys that did not sign with Nike on their first contract, and you recruited them and got them all the way to the very end with LeBron, who you almost had at the very moment, right? And so through all of that, I'm sure there was tremendous bad-mouthing going on from both sides about each other, and animus then breeds, and so now here we are, where anybody that's Nike associated is just not even going to be aligned with you at all, because there's just 30 years of going at each other's throats.
And I think it's a lot true, but more important than that is because they named George Raveling to sort of take over for me, the most inept human being that ever lived in the world that I lived in. It was incapable of doing that, but they did okay, but we kicked their butt. I mean, there was no question about where the best players went, to the tournaments, to the camps, and all that.
Well, and let's take a quick time out, because he's become like a hero amongst a lot of athletes, media, etc. Just a quick backstory for everybody that has not listened to us for many years. You and George, you say you and Jordan and how close you were. You and George were best friends to the point that, which was it? Was he your best man?
He was my best man in 1984. Pam and I got married in Las Vegas, Nevada. And by the way, Phil Knight was there too, and he gave us stock. How about that? I sold the stock, just so your audience knows. That time to do the camp I did in Irvine to compete against them. I didn't have a sponsor when they fired me, and they wanted to give me $250,000 to buy my Round Ball Classic, to buy the camps, and to buy, I didn't start big time yet. They wanted to buy that for $250,000. That was $250,000 to a guy who just got fired. I didn't do it, and I continued on my way. So to say, George and I at one time, he slept at my home when he was at Villanova University. He was very, very helpful to me. He was my best man. There's no question. And then all of a sudden he found, I don't want to say he found God. That's distraction to God. But he found whatever he found, and he asked me to do things that I was capable of doing. And I don't want to go into that on this show right now. But right now, Jordan, and Phil Knight actually made a statement. Josh Perry wrote an article 3 or 4 years ago in USA Today where the three of them got together and they concocted an idea that it was George, not Sonny, and Michael and Phil that concocted the whole Air Jordan thing. Well, that was the straw. Not so many deceiver things that George had done to me leading up to then or whatever. And it probably in his mind, whatever, and in public, I'm just telling you how I feel. I don't like the guy, and I love him, okay? I don't trust him, and I trusted him with everything. So I'm saying that. This will get out in the wires today, and I don't give a damn. Because the point I'm making to you is the biggest problem we have in the world are lies that are perpetrated with lies. So we're watching this film now. It's their idea. I was interviewed for 2.5 hours. They still may show me. I'm not on a vanity trip here. Let's understand, I'm 80 years old. the vanity in me, all of us want to see our names in light. I'd like to be on Mount Rushmore. I'd like to have a star named after me on Hollywood Boulevard. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what someone did with their life is sort of like my fight with this stupid NCAA. No one owns me. People listening to Chris's show today, I own whatever I did in my life. You can't take it away. I did it. That's what hurts me and my family and Chris. You know my wife. I mean, it's personal.
All
They
right.
could have done. We could have gone along. I could have existed. I kicked their butts. I did pretty good.
Let's talk
In fact,
about.
a lot of people.
I know you did.
Ending up with O'Bannon. I had a better life after on a personal level, not financially, on a personal level. If I go tomorrow morning, I go. But I like what I was able to do while I was here for others not named the Vaccaro
Did
family.
you ever consider reconciling?
Never.
Like you just said, I'm 80, right? Like, I mean, and
I could be
and
90.
we've talked
No,
a lot
no,
about
no.
your life.
You know what? And I'm a good. I believe in God and all that stuff. Let me just tell you something, okay? Because you asked me this question. The reason that would enter into my mind or not enter into my mind at this very moment here, there was always this thing about George that he carries out to the 10th degree, whatever that degree is. You're like, well, I'm not mad at Sonny. Well, he has no right to be. But what I have a right to do with him is him, lied about me. I didn't give a damn about everything else, and he was no competition at all. I mean, he never was competition to me. He was a friend to me, okay? But you can't do that to people. But most people in life don't have an opportunity. I didn't know what I can tell you. I had an opportunity. I married a wonderful woman. We finally, thank God we had $5 in the bank. My point to you is that's my personality. That's the way I was 100 years ago with my parents when I was a child. I'm saying to you, when you say forgive, I don't want nothing bad that happened to the guy. The guy had a horrible accident. He almost died like 30, 40 years ago. I didn't want him to die. I don't want that.
Not him.
I
No,
just said I
I'm
don't want
not
you-
saying him. I'm saying like with all of it. And I'm sure you had some level of reflection earlier this year. I know you did because I talked to you right after it because I knew you would just be all torn up. And I'll never forget the quote you told me. You said, Chris, I can live to be 150 years old and I'll never get over this. And this was the Kobe stuff when he passed away in the helicopter. And
Right.
and you realize how short life can be. And so like somebody with Kobe, right? And so like even some of that story can start to get scrubbed over time. And maybe not now, right? Because of his untimely passing that gets scrubbed. But maybe in 20 years when his story gets told, right? You're not part of that either. And then now you're seeing this Jordan thing. And you spent like some of your favorite years of your entire life doing this, and people are asking you like, damn man, why aren't you in this or whatever? And is it worth all that, right? Like all these memories that you have and all
Chris.
these great moments and all these things you love, is it worth it to have this, bitter feud with, maybe one, maybe two guys that has caused, people to choose their loyalties, and obviously they end up choosing who pays them $100 million.
And I'll say to you, you're preaching from the Bible to me. That's what you're doing, and it's a wonderful book to preach from. I'm agreeing with you, Chris. But my point is here, I was not the one to choose the battlegrounds. He fired me. I left. If we'd have let it go then, your public doesn't know that Phil Knight and Nike actually went after me on the RICO Act. In case the people down there in Memphis don't know what the hell the RICO Act is, they thought I was a mafia guy. They thought there were going to be checks in there. The fight started after he fired me. These things, even with Raveling, even with the thing with O'Bannon and all these things, I could have gone. But why I didn't? Why I'm answering this question for you now. What they did is they trying to ruin whatever life I have. What about there's a famous play on Broadway, Mame, and what about my family? What about me? All the things they said about me, how do you live with that? What does that little Chris do? That little guy was born a few years ago and I first met you, and you and your wife, okay? What do you say to them? Well, you know what, Chris? That's what I'm saying it for. I'm saying it for, and I'm saying it for every other child or every other kid or every other athlete or every other person who is snuffed because they're not from a certain degree of wealth or intelligence or that. And I'm not going on a Sermon on the Mount here for you. It's bullshit. I can't. If you tell me to do it, well, it's easy to tell me to do it, and you'll think, well, he's a good whatever, Christian or Muslim, whatever you are in your religion. I truly believe people believe.
Well, it's not about that, though, Sonny. It's not about a moral high ground. It's about the fact that you should be able to catch up with Michael Jordan and be friends. You know what I'm saying? You're 80 years old. He should be able to speak fondly about you in this documentary and all that stuff that happens. That's what I'm talking about.
He didn't. You know what, Chris? It got to a minute in my home right here where I was going to fight them. That was in the middle of almost the O'Bannon case was almost being wrapped up. We were waiting for if we were going to go to the Supreme Court. I remember like it was yesterday. I did not say Sonny Vaccaro had nothing. Michael said, I'm always fighting people. And Phil Knight said, in his book, in his 2 million page biography, he stops at 1986. I mean, it's the most illiterate biography I've ever seen in my goddamn life. How do you quit the top guy in that world? It was 1986, just so we understand. Because from 86 on, it was Sonny Vaccaro, Nike, and not Michael Jordan. I didn't choose that battleground. And Raveling? I mean, I think I might have told you this. I'll say it again for your public. They may not know who Thomas More is, okay, and who Richard is. And so Thomas More was the liaison between the Catholic Church, the Pope, and England when England was still being religious to the Pope. And Henry VIII wanted to get his 9th wife or some damn thing, right? And Thomas More would not do it because that was against the religion of the Catholics at that time, okay? So so what they had to do was prove treason. There was a guy in the show, in the life, Richard something, he was whatever. So Henry VIII gave him the ultimate apple on the tree. He said, Richard, you tell me that Thomas Becket here did not and was treasonous, and he did, and you'll be the premier of Wales. The last line when they saw each other is written, and I've read St. Thomas More. Okay, the last line, Richard, you did it for Wales. Richard, you did it for Wales. Richard went against every principle in the world, and he got his head chopped off. Sir Thomas More. That's what Raveling did to me. Okay, he did it for what? To get another job? He could have gotten that job. John Thompson got him the job. He couldn't have lied. He couldn't have exaggerated what my life meant. And they demeaned me. The three of them got conspired. They all got together and they lied together. Heckle, Jekyll, and Hyde. And there was no reason for any of those three to ever be a negative in my life. Because by me telling you, George and I had to be very close. Phil Knight let me do everything. I can't, until the fight, until the argument. Don't you understand? The guy, I never signed these checks by myself. He gave me the money to give this money. Never was I happier in the professional world as I was at that time. I was this kid who come out of Pittsburgh knowing what to do until I married someone like Pammy and got legs under me and walked the walk and did all the things that you want to do in life. I was on top of the world. Why the hell would I fight? They lied about me together, and that's a powerful lie. That's a powerful lie when you got power. And they did that. So,
let me ask you
there's no logical reason here. They had their chance. Michael controls this movie. You people listening to this think that Michael ain't controlling this movie. You're all crazy.
Let me ask you about The Last Dance and what everybody watched the other night, which is the story. I think what most people took out of it was, wow, Michael Jordan really, he was wearing Converse and then he liked Adidas, but he signed with Nike because of his mom. And she even is in the documentary and says, I told him he had to take that meeting at Nike. And this is that famous picture they show that I mentioned,
right,
where they show the back of your head at the Nike headquarters.
How about that?
I thought that was funny. I thought it was funny. I
Chris,
got to be honest.
It actually made a hero out of me
Yeah.
because there I was. I can't fabricate it. That was me in the back of my rear end. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go
All
ahead.
right, Dolores, his mom, says, I made him take that meeting, and he wasn't all that interested in Nike, and I made him take the meeting. And so I do think, look, it does not, I'll give you, I don't know what your friends have all told you, and I know you say you're not going to watch it. It does not tell some kind of radically fabricated story in there. It just doesn't touch on it all that much. It's kind of like he was in college, and then the shoe companies wanted him, and then they have the guy that I know you don't have that much love for, David Falk, his agent. He's kind of in there, and they talk about the royalty deal and whatever, but it's not I don't know. Like I watched it and didn't think, oh, that they did this wrong. They just don't talk about it a lot. They just kind of gloss over it, except for I think people were left watching it going, geez, man, Jordan ended up with Nike in the first place because of his mom, which I think is probably in some ways a little fair, right?
No.
No?
No. No. If I wouldn't, no. Well, no, you can't laugh. You got to let me finish my sentence,
All
Chris.
right.
If I wouldn't have won the argument, there never would have been an offer by Nike. That's why it never would have got to Dolores or James. You're missing the point. Nike didn't want Michael Jordan. 3 names they gave me, okay? I think Danny put the names in. I think there was 4 with Stockton in there. They wanted to split the baby. There is no Jordan if it wasn't for me winning the argument that day. That's my point.
They
Chris.
wanted you to go out and sign Elijah Wan, Barkley, and who?
John Stockton and Michael. Get 2 or 3 of those guys, okay, and don't give all the money to Michael. Well, Michael was never going to be part of a team like that. I mean, but I didn't know that then. I just said, no, that's the crux of the argument. Jordan doesn't meet me. I never meet him in Tony Romo's unless they give me Strasser gave me my marching orders, and he told me how much money we had, $500,000. I had the authority to do that. You're missing the point, Chris Vernon. It never would have reached Nike. That's the point. Michael, he tells you with his own words in his mouth. Thinking them.
This Rob Strasser, who obviously you said has passed on, he's working with Phil. They give you $500,000 and they say go split it amongst a bunch of college players. And your story, which I don't want to call it your story, makes it sound like, oh, there's your version. But the story goes, it was $500,000, and you said, I'm not splitting this up. Give it all to the kid from Carolina.
That's right.
Because that's what it's going to take to get him, or because you knew that other
it's all
people.
the money we had to spend. I didn't know what it was going to take. It may not have been. I was right. They took it. That was the number. Obviously, that was the number. If it had been $100,000, $500, Chris, I got to move on. There's people calling all the world here. But no, there never would have been an offer, Chris. That's what Memphis should take away from this country.
They're probably all calling you because of what you said about raffling. Sorry.
Well, I don't care what I say. I mean, I said the truth. Whatever it is, it is.
All right, put out the fires. Thanks, Sonny.
God love you. God bless you.
All right, love you too. We didn't even get done with the interview before his phone starts going off the hook, and he starts worried. You know, he's looking at that call waiting like, oh
yeah. What did I say?
He's 80. He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Dude, he's 80 and lives. Does he still live on Pebble Beach?
It's a truly unbelievable story.
Does he still live on Pebble Beach?
Yes.
He's 80 years old and lives on Pebble Beach. Would you care? I wouldn't care.
It's an unbelievable story. It truly is. I mean, it's the story of friends and friendship gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine feeling that way about the guy that was the best man in your wedding? He's the best man.
Yeah, man. That's like that's the closest one, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's your best man in your wedding.
Your best man.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, my best man was my father,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
You
what
know what I
most
mean?
people is. It's usually
Or a father
it's usually
or
their
your best
dad,
friend.
Your best friend.
or your brother. It's usually it's usually a very close family member, or it's like your best friend who you grew up with forever.
That's right. Somebody that you as close to you as anybody. And that's who it was. And still to this day, just I mean, not bad blood. Like
Sonny was like
the worst blood.
F that dude.
No, he could die tomorrow.
Oh,
and
yeah.
have absolutely no regrets.
None.
I'm sitting there like, yo, what about reconciling? What?
Sonny's not
Like,
reconciling.
are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? They tried to ruin me.
Yeah.
Like, forget it. Forget it, man. No, that's not me. How about him throwing in the Rico Act thing?
Yeah.
Trying to look at his check again, say he's in the mob.
That is pretty wild.
The story gets even better.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to say you weren't.
Trying to, because that's kind of around the time, because what, it was the 90s, the early 90s? Isn't that when the John Gotti stuff was happening too? It was the late 80s, early 90s? Are they trying to say he was like a member of
Crazy,
was he with
man.
John Gotti's crew?
Crazy. Unbelievable.
Sonny, man.
Absolutely unbelievable. What a story. What a story.
Amazing.
Years later, he's still like relevant.
All you
That's
gotta do,
crazy
all you gotta
thing.
do is just ask him a question, and
There you
you're
go.
gonna get a story like you'd never heard in your life.
Yep.
You're sitting there just like, wait, what? Like, I mean, there's 5 times I just have to, thank God after all these years, I just have to know better. Just sit here.
Yeah. So
'Cause he's
listen.
gonna pause, but don't let him lose this train of thought. So don't sneak in there with another
Yeah.
question. Just let him go, let him finish this.
And he will get more and more fired up as he keeps going too.
The
And
more he talks about it, the more he's mad again.
the angrier he gets.
Yep, you hear his voice peak.
Yeah, we heard a couple times.
Couple curses drop in there,
Yeah.
like he's,
He called your full name. He called you by your full name.
No.
He usually called you Chris. He said Chris Vernon.
No.
Getting you hotter. Hey,
Yeah.
getting Sonny hot, man.
That's my guy. I love Sonny. Dan Wetzel, our mutual buddy, he wrote the article that I retweeted today about getting Sonny into the Hall of Fame. Bro, I would love nothing more, and his contributions to basketball are totally deserving. There is
No
absolutely
way.
no. The worst part would be nobody showing up.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like,
Nike guys can't show up.
let me tell you
Yeah,
something.
They
Let
won't.
me-
They ain't letting LeBron and Michael Jordan show up to
Let me
that.
tell you something. No, that's only on screen, and that's only on like what everybody's going to see on ESPN. I was around him at the All-Star game, buddy. That it is kiss the ring stuff, and I'm talking it's every player from the last 40 years.
Oh yeah.
Every player. Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played in his games. Like, I mean, he was putting on games in Pittsburgh, high school all-star games from the 70s on,
Yeah.
and camps every summer. So he goes in someplace that's basketball. I mean, and it is, they come to kiss the ring. It's unbelievable.
Well, he told us that.
It is, and you name the player.
Dude,
You name it.
I'll never
Yeah.
forget. I'll never forget. He told us obviously because LeBron had been a Nike guy for a long time, and he had that relationship with LeBron. But once LeBron's a Nike guy, it's kind of
So,
He told us, dude. He texted LeBron on the day of the decision.
Yeah.
He told us that. Texted him and said, "Good luck." Just wanted to say good luck tonight.
if you
And LeBron
Google,
texted him back.
you Google Sonny Vaccaro, like you said, the likes of everybody. You go through photos, pictures with Jordan, Derrick Rose, Carmelo Anthony, Jordan,
Everybody.
Russell Westbrook, Kevin Love. Who else is on
Anybody
there?
who's anyone-
LeBron.
Andy could tell you their parents' names. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding.
And probably their cousins and
Yes.
aunts and all across. He knows the whole family.
Yo,
Like, dude, he's-
speaking of that Adidas thing, I'm looking at this photo of him on LeBron. It was back when the EA Sports All-American game was sponsored by Adidas.
Yep.
It's because that's crazy. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go back and watch that document, that 30 for 30 tonight, because I remember seeing it when it came out. The shoot,
Soul Man.
the Soul Man documentary.
I mean, do you remember? Did you see?
I'm gonna have to go back and
Did
watch
you
it.
watch LeBron play at some of the high school games that were on TV?
Yeah, it was Adidas.
They're all Adidas. He's
St.
wearing
Vincent
Adidas
St. Mary.
shoes, Adidas jerseys. Like
That's how it all ended.
yeah,
That's how it all ended.
The
He
LeBron
quit
thing?
over
He-
LeBron.
He went to the meeting with him and his mom. Opened up the package.
Yeah.
Adidas didn't put the full amount. They were short.
And Sonny said, I'm sorry to LeBron and his mom.
And he quit.
Walked out, got on the phone and quit. And quit Adidas, and he's never been back in shoes since.
He quit. He told his wife. I get chills. Think about it. He said he left the meeting with LeBron, got in the car, and he told Pam, who I know, he said, you know what we have to do? And she goes, you're going to quit, aren't you? He said, yes. He called him. I quit. He had him. He had him.
Yeah, I mean, that's
He's sewed up.
That's why the thing is, like, dude, what is...
That's the greatest mistake ever.
It is. It's massive.
I mean,
It's like that, but that is the... Michael Jordan wanted to go with Adidas right out of college, and Adidas said, we don't have the kind of money, and we're just not going to do it. Sonny gets him over at Nike.
Bro.
Sonny had Kobe Bryant with Adidas right out of high school. He had Tracy McGrady with Adidas. He got LeBron James with Adidas. What is Nike basketball if all
Sonny
of
was
that
really
happens?
Like the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT.
he had it sewed up,
That's crazy.
and he left over that. Hey, if you're ever going to leave over something, he knew what he was. He said, this is it. This is our ticket. I mean, imagine what Adidas basketball is.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing.
If you have LeBron,
You have the biggest player in the.
Yeah.
So you see all these photos of him on LeBron. Like, there's so many photos of him on LeBron on this.
He had him. He had the whole high school team wearing Adidas.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go first, fellas. So you may have seen on The Last Dance, the Jordan 1s were prominently featured. And in fact, there was that portion of The Last Dance in that documentary where he says he wore them in his last game in Madison Square Garden and his feet were bleeding. Well, as you can imagine, as everybody was watching The Last Dance, people then went online and they wanted to buy Jordan 1s. And the Jordan 1s Chicago retro reissues, those came out in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's been a run on those. Average sale, $850 with bidding up to $1,500 on StockX.
Holy
But the average sale has been $850. That's the demand for those. The absolute most you would spend for a pair of shoes is...
Fill in the blank, sucker.
$600. $600 would be my limit. Because it has to be a shoe that I really, really want. Because there's these shoes I actually thought about doing this with.
600?
Yes.
What?
The Nike, what was it called? Sakakis? Sakai's?
Yes, I
I
love
want some of those so bad, but on stock, they're like $500, $600.
I've seen them. The ones that, who was it? Was it Sue Bird had them on, I think, at one point?
The multicolored joints?
Yes.
Yeah.
With the baby blue and the
Yes.
red. Yes.
I want some so bad.
That's one of those mashups.
Yeah.
Sakai is a brand, I believe an Asian brand. So it's kind of like Off-White when they do those or the Virgil Abloh stuff or whatever. Yeah. They're very rare.
I was this close to dropping 600.
600?
I was so close. I was like, no, my girlfriend's going to be so mad.
So obviously that was your limit.
Yeah, that was my limit.
You didn't spend 600.
Yeah, so maybe 650 would be how much I would.
The most.
The most, yeah. I might end up still getting them.
The more we talk about it, he's going to have them on next week.
Yes.
I think probably 400. 300 to 400.
300 to 400?
Yeah, 'cause I always look at those Jordan 12s all the time that I want, and they're always between like 400 and 450.
Wait, which ones you look at?
12s, black with the white.
12s are 12
black with
pricey.
the white.
I think that's about the that's about the limit too.
Yeah,
I think the most
and I haven't pulled the trigger on it. I'm just like, oh god, that's a lot.
the most I've ever spent were on probably Yeezys.
Yeah,
I think.
mean, those.
But I would
Yeah.
say that was the limit. I mean,
I saw someone selling those Red Octobers
once
on
it-
StockX for like $12,000, $13,000.
once it gets over $300, I get queasy.
Yeah.
I haven't
That's
done
about
it.
how. That's why I haven't pulled the trigger on the
Yeah.
12s. I'm like, God, 400 is
I do kind of wait.
shipping and handling.
I keep hoping they were going to go
fees.
down,
Yeah.
and you know what? And I really messed up, and I got it backwards on the pandemic front because I was thinking, oh man, people are going to need money, so no. It went the total opposite, which is everybody's at home shopping on StockX.
Yes,
Right? You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Yep.
I'm thinking people are going to start lowering the prices on this stuff because they're going to right?
They're going up.
They need to unload it. Oh no. There's just a billion more people that are sitting around looking for the same stuff all day. So it was better before.
The Sakkai's before, it was like $220, $230. Bro, now they're $600.
Yep.
On StockX.
Look, obviously, if the retail or if the average sale price is $850 for those, then crazy. Geez. All right. I am going to take out LeBron and football because that one has already been broached many times. But this week we are going to see Michael Jordan and him leaving basketball to play baseball when he went to the Birmingham Barons. If you could see another pro athlete in another sport, put LeBron aside, we all agree it would be amazing to watch him play in the NFL. Put him aside. You could see another pro athlete play in another pro sport. It would be
fill in the blank, sucker.
The first one that came to mind, and I don't know because he's still explosive and fast, but he's not what he was like 4 to 5 years ago. Russell Westbrook playing soccer. Russell Westbrook as a forward. Like when I watch old clips of Thierry Henry or this the dude from France, the Mbappe guy from France who was crazy at the last World Cup. Like those guys that are so tall and have such long legs and are so fast, they could just kick the ball out in front of them and they're just gonna beat you to it.
Give me Giannis.
This is good.
As goalie.
I mean, typically you were going to find, right? Like these NBA athletes are the ones that would be.
Yeah. Give me a receiver or a volleyball player.
Harden would obviously be a lot more comfortable in soccer.
Yeah.
The other one would be Vontaze Burfict in boxing.
That's a good one.
I don't think he needs.
But you said I can't.
Yeah. All right. So you would say Giannis
in football, yeah.
Football,
either football or volleyball on the front line.
Oh my God.
Giannis just.
Volleyball would be good. I think he'd get killed playing football. He might get killed playing football.
He's a big dude, man.
He's a big dude, but like, I mean,
imagine 6'10".
You're getting hit. You're going to get hit in
6'10",
the NFL.
220, and playing receiver.
Yeah, dude, Von Miller could rock him, though.
He could, but he is gigantic.
He is big, man.
Can you imagine if there was ever like a tight end that was 6'10"?
How about Zion? Zion playing tight end. Or defensive end.
Buddy. That is a great one.
Yeah.
Zion playing
defensive end is good.
Woo.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like seeing Westbrook play something else because he is just this. He looks
his strides.
Remember when he got his face hit, but it like dented?
Yeah.
It didn't even
didn't flip.
It didn't bleed, like no skin, bro. It was like, bro, is this guy for real like a robot or something?
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen somebody dent before.
Yeah.
He's like dented. People can go Google that picture. Like, Russell Westbrook just got dented.
The only thing with Westbrook, like, he may get, like, a red card or multiple yellows, like every game. He might. Well,
he's a little aggressive. He's a little Tasmanian devil out there.
I like those, though. Those would be good ones because you could see Westbrook playing, like, any place on a football field.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Much less soccer.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even on a football field.
Westbrook, if you obviously you could beef him up a little bit, but, like, safety. You have that guy's safety. Like,
what kind of athlete?
Yeah.
Like,
you just have him as a free safety, just roaming, looking around and everything. Like,
I wonder if Ja ever played football. Probably not.
I think he has. I think so.
I used to ask guys a lot. I need to get back to doing that about what they played. So many now, all the young guys, they really played one sport.
That's what it is, yeah.
You know what I mean?
When at a young age, once you're like 10 years old, 11 years old, and you know which sport you're best at, you just play that.
The last one I can really remember was Jordan Adams, who we had drafted.
He played baseball.
He played quarterback.
Yeah.
There's like
YouTube.
Football.
I thought he played baseball.
There's YouTube videos of in Atlanta.
Okay.
Like he was a hell of an athlete, Jordan Adams. He was like the team's quarterback and stuff. But I mean, a lot of these guys, they don't.
Who was it that played?
They don't play football.
Javon Carter played baseball. He liked baseball.
Oh, he did.
Javon liked baseball.
He did like playing baseball.
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of guys in the past that played baseball and then just didn't give it up. I was reading the other day something about Michael Vick got drafted in baseball and he hadn't played since he was like a freshman Somebody took him in like the 30th round.
It's like, he's an athlete. I'll just throw him. I'll put him in center field and we'll figure it out.
No, he hadn't played baseball since he was like a freshman in high school or something, but somebody drafted him.
Colorado Rockies drafted him.
It's like, if he ever decides, we will put him in center field and we'll just go. You go catch the ball. So you go run down the ball.
Can you imagine somebody getting drafted that hadn't played something since?
That's ridiculous.
I mean, what kind of athlete can you got to be, right, to be able to do that? All right, last one for me. The thing you miss the most from having all of this shelter-at-home stuff and all of the coronavirus pandemic come about in the quarantine, the thing you miss the most that you feel like maybe you took for granted is...
Fill in the blank, sucker.
Being able to like sit down and like eat with your friends. Like, I'm missing like Young Avenue Deli so much right now. Because that was like a weekly, like, you go to Young Avenue with your homies.
Yep.
I'll sit there, have a drink, eat. We haven't been able
just
to do
going
that.
out to eat.
Just going out to eat, just hanging out with my friends. Like, that's something. In public.
Yep.
So.
Not having to wear a mask everywhere I go.
That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
It's not something you miss.
I miss not being able to have my bare face show. I mean, the gym, I guess. That'd be it.
The gym.
That and going out to eat. I mean, but I mean, because I go out to eat once a week, and my mom and I would go out to eat once a week on Fridays.
Yeah, it's weird because none of us were not like big like movie goers.
I don't go to the movie theater.
It's like concerts, like they're like
concerts. Yeah,
festivals, like being able to like do like public events like that.
I mean, Music Fest not happening last week.
Those are the ones. Yeah, concerts and games.
Yeah,
for me, like any of those are the only things I really do.
Yeah,
seriously, I guess I go. I mean, there's not really like the stores. I go
to work, the grocery store.
Yeah.
The gym,
we're all
restaurants,
we're washed up
here. Like I don't. I don't.
I'm work during the week, then I go out Tin Roof on Saturdays.
You think you will when it all returns?
Yes.
You.
I'm already planning it right now in my head.
That hasn't changed.
Because they reopened it this week, so I was like, you know what? Shall we?
No,
I'm not.
You gotta wait on that.
I'm joking, man. I'm not gonna go this.
It'll be packed too. That's a shame.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be packed this.
It's gonna be no. It's not gonna be open like late. It's gonna be open till it's gonna be open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to like midnight.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
And the freaks come out at night.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Whoop.
I hope everybody there is in a face mask.
I'll let you know.
All right. Get to yours, Devin.
All right. Mine, ESPN, they dropped a story this week about the greatest NBA uniforms of all time.
Yep.
The Grizzlies got a couple nominations on there for the Vancouver jerseys and the playoff days, the TA uniform. Your favorite NBA uniform of all time is...
Fill in the blank, sucker.
I like the Bulls, the Chicago and cursive.
I do too.
The Chicago and
cursive
Bulls.
Yeah,
why haven't they brought that back?
Yeah, that's a dope uni.
I said this year for the All-Star game, they should have done that. They should have had East, West, and cursive across the front of the All-Star
You know what else somebody should bring back? And I thought about this when I was watching those, when they ranked them, they had the Lakers classic one and the Celtics classic one. I like the big numbers
on the Celtics?
On the front. Both of them. Both the Lakers and the Celtics. There's a big 32 on the front or a big 33 on the front.
Yeah.
I like the big numbers on those. And obviously those are classic ones. Jeez. The Bulls ones are so clean.
Yeah, the red Chicago.
Cursive Chicago.
Cursive red
Chicago. We could all maybe agree on that one.
Yeah, that one's tough.
Like when I read that article when they were going through the top 75, and I think I like the cursive Chicagos as much as I do any of them.
Yeah. The Orlando pinstripes are pretty dope. I love those.
Yep.
The Orlando ones were good. Yeah, they were.
The Raptors ones are pretty dope.
The Magic, both of them, the home and the road ones.
Yeah, all the pinstripe joints are dope.
There was a Sixers one that Iverson wore that they didn't even list it in that top 74. There was a Sixers one, not the black one, but there was one that he wore that was it was a basic.
Yeah.
Like one of the, it was almost like a retro looking one from back in the day. And I liked that quite a bit. But I thought they got, what you noticed when they were ranking those, the classic ones, the Knicks, the Pistons, the Celtics, they all had those big numbers on the front.
Yeah, the big font. The big font.
Yeah.
I like the big numbers on the front. I do. And they were way too high on the Timberwolves jerseys.
Yeah.
Those are not good.
Wait, which ones? The black with tree trim or just the regular joints?
I'm talking about the old school ones, like the Garnett ones.
I like those.
With
The black with the timber trim.
Yeah.
I love that.
Those aren't bad, dude. Those
I don't like the font.
I'm sorry. Those Prince jerseys suck.
What?
Those Purple Rain jerseys, those jerseys suck.
I like the
People love those things, man. Those jerseys are not
the
that
Dr.
good.
J one, the
Sixers?
Nets.
Oh,
No,
Nets.
the Nets Stars and Stripes. I like that one a lot too.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love the Miami Heat ones too.
The Vice ones?
Yes.
Yeah,
those are great.
Bro, you hate the Vancouver jerseys. I can't take your opinion
I
serious.
don't hate the Vancouver jerseys. I like ours better than the originals because it's a darker shade.
It is darker than
All right, what else we got?
All right, quarantine has all about replay value. Rosa, you replay a lot of shows you've already watched. You replay a lot of shows you've already watched. I listen to a lot of albums I've already listened to. One album you can play all the way through without skipping is
Fill in the blank, sucker.
There's a ton of them.
A lot of them.
without skipping. One album.
You know what? I'll give you one that I just listened to the other day. Is College Dropout. 100%.
I'll say there. I
love it.
Yesterday, I listened to Late Registration all the way through. Just yesterday.
So a Kanye album.
Extraordinary Machine by Fiona Apple. I love that album.
Whoa.
I do. I go the whole way through.
That's eccentric.
Pearl Jam Versus. I can do that one all the way through.
Yep.
Okay.
10, Vitalik. I can do actually their first 3 albums. all
The
way
new
through.
DaBaby album.
Stop. Cap. That's a whole lot of cap right there, buddy.
All right.
All right, my last one. Wait, I think that was my last one. You already took the one about going somewhere.
Oh, I stole one of yours.
Yeah,
All right,
my last
Rosa, hit him.
Jonas Valanciunas had a birthday yesterday. Jonas Valanciunas is.
Fill in the blank, sucker.
28.
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
answer.
I thought you were asking what is
Yeah.
No. He is.
a monster.
He's a monster among
monster.
men.
A monster
A mon-
amongst men. He is the NBA's Braun Strowman.
Yes, he is the Braun
I'd say
Strowman
he's
of
the
the
most
league.
underrated player on the Grizzlies team.
Ooh,
okay.
I'm
Roser?
telling Brandon Clark.
Yeah, Roser.
I'm underrated too.
I am also underrated.
All right.
I was drafted number 20.
Yesterday in 1954, I don't know if you knew this happened. Roger Bannister became the first person to run a 4-minute mile. He ran it in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Right now, I put you out on the corner and I say you got to go run a mile as fast as you can. You can do it in.
Fill in the
Oh my
blank,
God,
sucker.
yo.
And Dev, don't even lie on this because you made it 0.8 miles in a little 5K for the Grizzlies last year. You made it 0.8 and you started dying.
I did sprint, though.
I think 1 mile I could. I think 1 mile I could do in the 8s. So people have been watching these, Tony. These Grizz Rewinds that you and I have been doing, and this weekend we ran the Game 6 game against the San Antonio Spurs. Zebo's game.
Yeah, the infamous
With the 17 points in the fourth quarter. And then on Sunday, we watched the one that is up on the screen right now. And this was the triple overtime game against Oklahoma City.
See, I had the mask on then. I ain't got the mask on now, so. Oh man.
You don't want him telling bedtime stories to your children. That's what you said next.
Yeah.
I mean, you went at the core 4. You even went at Mark. Mark watches us, Tony. He cares about what you have to say about him. And there you are. Now watching that back, and this is what people witnessed on Sunday. The first question I have for you today, do you feel bad for calling your teammates in 2011 creatures?
No, they know it's somebody for everybody. But they know I'm a funny guy, man. They got thick skin, Hee ha ha.
You don't think that any of them will take it personally that you said that they are creatures?
Well, I mean, it was
that would hurt my feelings
No.
if you said,
Okay,
"Hey,
no,
I come in and do the Chris Vernon show."
I'm
And,
telling
man,
you
there's
right
a bunch
now,
of creatures.
Chris Vernon, you are not a fine young man.
What?
I'm just telling you right now.
How dare you?
There's nothing
dare you?
attractive about you right now. I'm gonna tell you to your face. I'm gonna just tell you right to your face, bro.
How dare you?
Okay, just let you know that that's you won't catch me
What?
telling no man that they handsome, but What
Why are you
said,
going out of your way
okay.
to tell me?
What I'm telling you is though, bro. What I'm telling you is, you asked me what I seen 9 years back, and I'm like, yo, I'm still handsome. Yeah. That was the question you gave me. Now you went on to ask me what I rank amongst those guys.
Yeah, and you said there were creatures.
Those guys. I
hey,
couldn't see myself just saying.
There's a way to say,
different than that.
I rank very highly amongst my teammates than saying this team was full of creatures.
No. I'm saying you're right. Like I think I'm the most handsome guy on that 2011 roster. Why wouldn't I think that? And yeah, don't none of them brothers look handsome to me. So what are you saying?
No Denzels.
Yeah, man.
No Denzels. All right, so as we have been watching all of these back, though, in all seriousness, because we've goofed a lot about them, as we've watched all of these back,
right?
And there are moments, of course, where you get nostalgic or where you're paying attention to your muscles or your hairline or whatever else. But once you get past that, as you watch all of these games back, what has stood out to you about those teams, yourself, and everything else that we've done?
Well, a lot of times when I watch them, I go back into time to.
Yeah, get your mic close.
When I go back into time, it's just looking at pretty much how well knitted we was. Great camaraderie, a lot of respect for each other, which carried over to a lot of wins. And everybody knew what their role was coming in, and we all thought that the more we play hard and play together, everybody shines. And if you could look back that year, I want to say
because we've watched 13, we've watched really every season from 13 through 15. We've pretty well watched a playoff game.
Yeah, and
or 11. I'm sorry, through 15.
I think Zebo was an all-star that year.
11
finished up third team All NBA. I finished up second team All NBA.
Not All NBA.
I mean, all defense team. I wish. I was dreaming. I must have still been asleep. But and we just got individual accolades for the organization. We beat a #1 seed. And like I say, the thing that stood out, man, our respect we have for each other, and how well we held everyone accountable, and we knew our roles.
One of the things that's for sure, and you do get a little bit nostalgic about this, it hasn't been that long. I see like some of these teams, like I think to myself, I was watching the 04 Pistons last week. They ran it on ESPN, their game against the Lakers. And I'm watching them, the whole crowd's like, beat LA, beat. And I mean, and it is just a madhouse in there, right? And I think to myself, my God, like for them, and I know they've had a couple good seasons since, but that's 16 years. Right? We have not gone through that long, but there is no question, even when you look at what's on the screen now from that thing we just played, and you look at that arena and you look at that crowd, I am like transported into what that was like and where you would be out on the concourse. And I mean, we were outside selling Tony Allen t-shirts, no less. And we would walk in. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of people and people going insane. Like you guys had the city in the palm of your hand at that time. And now, obviously, you look at the team, and I think to myself, like, look, there's going to be, if they can stay away from injury, Morant and Jackson, those guys, they're gonna have the opportunity to be on one of those teams that's a consistent playoff team every single year. And watching these back, man, I do miss that. And for all the people that say that, if you're not first, you're last, like that kind of feeling, right? You've never been inside like that kind of an arena. It doesn't matter, even if it only lasts a couple games. Like getting to the playoffs and getting those kind of environments and the impact it has within a city is immense. Immense. And then for the future of your franchise, it's immense, right? Because, and for you guys, even. You see that, and you see the way, I mean, there's 18,000 people, and they're going friggin' bananas.
Yeah, 18,000 people is definitely a great motivator going into any game. Definitely when they saying we don't bluff, all hard, grit, and grind. It's just You're right. That was our 6 man.
And
that was our 6 man.
And it will probably always be different from here on out, because the truth is, I bet the Grizzlies are on national TV more than they've ever been before next year because of Morant. Seriously. I bet they get more national TV games next season than they do, that they ever have before. Because you guys, even through the playoff run, never got on TV. Ever. So it was always us against the world. It won't be like that when you have a superstar on your team, you know?
No.
Right? It doesn't feel the same way.
Chris, we played a lot of big-time games, kid. We did.
But you didn't have.
You saying regular season?
Yes.
Regular season, yeah.
Like
playoffs, we was always big boy TNT and big boy.
That's right.
Yeah.
But these are the only games that would get there. Well, your Spurs games weren't. Hell, they put you on True TV if they could. They put you on the sci-fi channel. They put you on National Geographic.
Yo, man.
With the rest of the creatures.
With the rest of the creatures. The man.
Friday night, Grizzlies Spurs at 8:30 on True TV. Before you can watch Cops. Afterwards, Cops.
That's right. That's where they put you when you play the Spurs. Hell, you remember? Hey, that Game 6 that we watched. That's when you know you weren't fancy, because they said Game 7, if needed, noon on Sunday in San Antonio. It's a Game 7. They're gonna put you at noon in San Antonio.
Get this over with.
This is when people are still at church.
Man, you're right.
And they're putting you on TV, trying to make you play a basketball game.
You're right.
But if you played Oklahoma City, big time.
Sure,
Late, and the Clippers too. TV loved the Clippers. The other thing is we're going to show these Clipper games. That's what's coming on Friday and Sunday, the ones that we recorded last week.
Yeah, that was some good games.
Great games. And also I came in
Make
here.
sure y'all tune in. Your boy TA went live. He went live. All Grizz Nation right now. Watch the next game, yo. Watch this rewind coming up. I got busy. I didn't even know I was going to get that busy. Shout out to Tony Allen, man. Shout out to Tony Allen.
This man is out here giving him shout outs to himself.
Cuz you surprised me when we was watching the game. I'm like, yo, I really didn't know what I was about to do. Then I looked up. I'm like, I had a blast. It was fun. So
it was a blast. It's a blast. It's been a blast to watch all these games back. And you get to come by these honest, because you really don't know what happens in the game.
I don't know.
I don't know how. How do you not remember any of this stuff?
I put it like
it's
this.
like you didn't even play in the game.
Put it like this. And you're right. I did play a lot of crucial minutes in that game, but I just know when I reread my stat line back, it's a little off all the time. So it's like, yo, was it this game or because you play a lot of teams like 3 to 4 times.
But these are playoff games and memorable games. There are people.
How many times we played Oklahoma City in the playoff? Maybe 2 or 3 times. How many times we played the Clippers? It's like it's been Clippers,
right?
Spurs.
And so you get the games mixed up.
That's all.
In one of the games that we watched, Tony talks for 2 hours about how he's going to dunk on Ronny Turioff, and then the game ends and we realize that it wasn't in that game. He never dunked.
Hey, see, and that's why I go wrong. But see, that's why it's good watching the rewind. That's why it's good watching the rewind, because man, sometimes I be thinking I'm lit. Yeah, I'm like that. Yeah, it was because of me.
My favorite, you guys have got to watch the Clippers ones, because my favorite part of those was if there gets a point in time where Tony starts getting the ball, and the same way, I told somebody this the other day, the same way that fans, when they would swing, and Tony would get the ball on the perimeter, and there's a defender like maybe 4 feet from him, and he starts doing his crossover numbers and stuff. If the camera pans to him, he is watching the game, not knowing what's about to happen, praying that it's something good. But he is cringing like a panda, like, oh no.
Like it's my first time watching it.
He's going, oh no, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he's talking about himself.
But see, because
then he'll pull up for a jumper and make it be like, oh, I'm lit.
Good shot, TA.
Or he'll dribble it off his foot and he'll be like, Oh, man, why y'all show that? I'm like, we're watching the game.
So let me tell you, like, as you can see, I wasn't really a scorer in the league, you know what I mean? But I had fun. I can't say I had fun when I did score, man. When I scored, it meant a lot. It wasn't.
It meant a lot.
It wasn't like I was KD or somebody where you could wake up and just,
That's right.
you know,
Just score
sneeze 20 points at
That's
your
right.
system. But for the most part, when I did make a move or do something, I knew I couldn't do it at a high value.
Yeah.
So when I did it, like I remembered it and I like, yeah, I'm gonna remember that. But hey, man.
All right, let's talk about because this is what's been going on, these Grizz Rewinds, and we've got 4 more that we're going to do. Through this, though, and now that I've watched some of them back, there's no question, in the moment, a couple of the things that have stood out to me the most. A, the Grievous Vasquez thing is just truly unbelievable. We didn't care very much in the moment that he was gone. But then when you go back and you watch even that Clippers series 2 years later, and we bring in Tony Roten, and we bring in Keon Dooling, and we bring in, who was the other one? There's somebody else.
Arenas?
No, Bayless. Jared Bayless, Keon Dooling, and Tony Roten. We had 3 backup point guards.
Bayless could play, though.
Yeah, but Lionel didn't like him.
No.
Okay.
Lionel didn't like anybody that wasn't Mike Conley.
That's fair.
Yes,
That's
I
fair.
agree.
Yes. But the fact that he would have been the point guard for 3 more seasons. He would have been the point guard, the backup point guard for Mike Conley, and he would have been an amazing backup point guard to have.
Solid point guard.
He was really, really good, and that I did not realize how good he was until watching those games back, right? That's one. I told you yesterday when I came in, after you watch this weekend's, it's a different appreciation for Chris Paul. It just is. Because he had nobody.
A whole mode, like, of him just doing everything he wanted to do, and all he was missing was that help or maybe another alpha male who could be a presence on the court. Because Zebo pretty much put Blake Griffin in his place. You know, he say his toe was hurting or his fingernail. I don't know the difference. But we were able to, you know, get through those guys, you know.
You absolutely believe that he was not injured to the point where he played the limited minutes that he did. And I think there is great evidence to
why I
suggest.
say that? You know why I say that? All right, I pulled my hamstring one, right? And I tried to come back, right?
Yep.
And I know for a fact I couldn't move. Although I think I got a bucket that game. But hey, I'm just messing with you. But listen, what I was going to say.
You're a clown.
No.
It might have been you riding that. It might have been you riding that unicycle on the green line.
I'm going to disagree, too.
What?
That was great job by the Grizz. That Clippers team is not bad. That Clippers team had 5 guys averaging double figures. I'm telling you, the Grizzlies were just freaking better than them. That Clippers team was not bad.
They started Chauncey Billups and Caron Butler.
And I'm telling you, Caron Butler shot like 40% from 3 that year.
He didn't in this thing.
No, so the Grizzlies defended them well. You adjust after the 2 games, you come back, you beat them 4 straight. Props to the Grizzlies. Both teams won 56 games in the regular season. That series can go either way right there.
Away from them, but you know, Tony Allen averaged 16 points a game that series. So, you know.
How good were they?
So I'm just trying to say, I don't know how good they were.
He said, how good are they?
I don't know.
Roser, how good were they? Chauncey Billups is done, Roser.
Right.
Trust me.
I averaged 16 points a game that series.
I'm just telling you. I mean, Billups, he played 22 games for him in that regular season. He played 19 minutes a game. He averaged 8.5 points a game for him.
But DeAndre Jordan is abandoned. He's not even in
Del
the
Negro
series.
Hated him.
He's just not.
They set him down.
He
doesn't
abandoned
play.
him the year before when they beat the Grizzlies.
Bledsoe's nice off the bench. Barnes is nice off the bench.
Jamal Crawford averages 16.5 a game.
Shout out to Jamal
He doesn't
Crawford.
do much, but yeah, he's still obviously a good player. But their starters, rough.
Man, Barnes killed. Barnes killed that last game.
This is what I tell you. Like you said it yourself. Blake wanted at this point. Blake just came looking for a fight, but he wasn't interested in playing basketball.
That's true.
If Blake ain't interested in playing basketball, yeah, it'll all fall apart for him. Then Chris Paul got to do everything. If Blake is interested and they can go Blake and CP3.
It was working. No, it was working.
Other
It was
things
working.
can fall into place.
That's why we watched the rewind. It was working at first. It was working. They beat us 2-0. We couldn't, but once we got accustomed to what they was doing, they just want to throw lobs and dunk. And Chris Paul in the pick and roll, splitting the pick and roll.
That's what exposes that team, is what I'm saying, Roser.
What we did was we keyed in, let's say, okay.
No lobs.
Chris Paul, we ain't going to give you no lobs. You're just going to have to make 100 floaters.
Shoot that free throw line jumper.
And shoot the free throw line jumper. That's it.
And he does.
And so now, when he kills us doing that in his Hall of Fame star that he is, we noticed that, when Blake gets it on a pick and pop, he's not comfortable and confident in shooting that 10 out of 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
And Devin, if DeAndre Jordan get caught on the island with it in his hand, he with us. You see what I'm saying? So that's how we was playing that. And we keyed in. We said, Chris Paul, you gonna kill, you gonna do your thing. But these other boys, we gonna match their intensity.
They were easier to prepare for as time went on. Because
we saw the lob was the intimidator.
Neither of those two guys could shoot. That killed it.
No, look, and I'm finna tell you what was helping them throughout the year. Watch. All right, okay.
They don't have anybody else that can dribble. No, Caron Butler and Billups can't even dribble.
The lob threat was making you pull in from the weak side. When Chris Paul coming off that pick and roll 100 miles per hour, he putting that press on the big. Then you got the guard still pursuing. He can't get back to Blake Griffin rolling, so now the corner man got to pull in.
Yep.
So now what it is with Chris Paul, with his great vision, he could throw the ball around his neck and hit the corner. It's an open three. And he got two shooters on both sides. You said Caron Butler and what was
Billups.
Billups. Okay, repick the pick and roll. If you repick it, now while the other guy was already over there hugged up, I repick, now the lob is a threat.
Yep.
Now we yelling at the man in the corner because he didn't pull in. Come on, man. That was real simple.
And it's just that,
Roser,
it's just that particular version. The other years, when they've got Nick Young and they've got Kenyon Martin and Reggie Evans, and then the other year where they've got Redick. Obviously, they ended up with Redick because that spaces it out. Now, all of a sudden, you can't
tag from no angle. You can't even tag from the top.
Because now you've got J.J. Redick that's running around out there.
Quick pass to the side,
knock down a shot. And that team was really good. But this one that we watched, those guys they're done. They're done. The Grizzlies were great, though. Outstanding team.
And look, Rose,
but Tony Allen averaged 16. He said it himself.
That was the series.
They can't be that good.
Coach was like, yo, what are you guys doing? That's the infamous speech he gave us, and he scolded us, and But yeah, man, I averaged a lot of points that series. And I just told you about my points. I don't score a lot, so when I do score, we got to give some props to that.
This is what's crazy. The game starts. And I am shocked that Chauncey Billups is the starting two guard. And you don't even remember playing against him.
No, I didn't.
Who was the other guy that you didn't remember playing against? And you were like, salute to, who was it? Oh, Grant Hill. You had no recollection of ever being on the court.
I knew Chauncey was playing. I forgot Grant Hill was playing.
Grant Hill didn't play very much.
He played. Oh, he comes in and hard fouls somebody.
Yeah, he played 15 minutes a game. He averaged, he was done.
Yes.
He averaged 3 points a game.
My word. No, it's been fun to watch back. So that was another thing that has stood out to me for sure.
This has been the best of the Chris Vernon Show, presented by Direct Auto Insurance. Tune in to the live show daily at noon or on demand by heading over to grindcitymedia.com or Grind City Media on YouTube.